Yo, welcome back guys. So I want to do some just detailed information about low range, high quality singing. Let's get stuck in. If you want deep singing knowledge that you'll get nowhere else, please subscribe. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. So the example we're going to use today, guys, is a cover called The Trapeze Swinger by a singer called Gregory Alan Isakov. It's got sent to me by a friend of mine called Keaton, and I just thought it was a great example of what are many of the struggling singers on YouTube trying to find help missing. Let's just go in.
Please remember me happily by the rose bush, laughing with bruises on my chin. The time when you counted every black car passing your house beneath the hill, and up until.
So you get the idea. Now mostly it's just going to loop around like this. There's a guitar solo later on. But the first thing that I notice about this guy is he's got a very plain, simple approach. And this is so easy for singers to lose. And far too often struggling singers have drifted away from a nice, plain, simple approach. It's got to be plain and simple. That is the first building block of a good professional sounding voice. Plain, simple and easy. When struggling singers spend hours trawling different YouTube channels and finding all of this abstract, convoluted information, it's very, very easy for them to drift away from a plain, simple approach. And this is why I talk frankly about the fact that a lot of this information regarding singing on YouTube, as much of it is going to harm singers as help them a lot of the time, because it drags people away. It makes everything very abstract, makes like loads of convoluted terminology, all this stuff, drags people away from just a nice, plain, simple approach. This guy hasn't done that. He hasn't spent hours trawling. He hasn't done any of that. He just uses his voice, just like the way he talks. Now you notice it's not compressed. It's not the right type of compression. It's not squeezed and all this stuff. It's just, hey man, please. It's right there. Now the advantage of this type of approach is this. It communicates to people very, very easily. The singing doesn't get in the way. The actual point of the song gets across much more easily when people don't hear you singing. Yeah? In a lot of ways, people don't really want to hear you sing, at least not in the way that some people take that. They just want to hear the point of the song and get a sense of connection between the musician and the listener. And a lot of the time, the best connection, and the reason singer-songwriters do so well with that, is the best connection all the time is just conversational. And most singer-songwriters live on this compression level most of the time. A kind of talkative, friendly type of compression. It's not a hyper-squeezed, compressed mix voice. A lot of the time it's just, hey man, it's just right there where they would talk. It's not squeezed, it's not airy, it's just right in the middle. So the beginning of a plain, simple approach is understanding some of the value in that. It doesn't always have to sound impressive, guys. It doesn't have to sound special. It has to be you. That's a lot of the time the main problem that people face. So let's just actually break down a couple of the technical things that we're looking at here. Got even compression through the verse here.
Please remember me happily by the rose bush, laughing with bruises.
Yeah? So if I put some reverb on this and you just have a listen. I'm starting here. Please remember me happily by the rose bush, laughing with bruises on my chin. The time when We counted every black car passing your house beneath the hill, and up until someone caught us in the kitchen with maps, a mountain range, a piggy bank, a vision too removed to mention. But I'm just going through those words there, reading them out, giving you a sense. But if we talk about the technical aspects behind this, yeah, it's plain and simple, but there is a little bit going on. Now, what I'm feeling and what I understand and what I'm going to communicate right now is this. Whilst I'm articulating the words, underneath that, I've got a very even sense of pressure every time I articulate. What I'm trying to say is, underneath the articulation, something else is going on. And I talk about this all the time. But what I'm feeling is every time I hit a note, I feel the same pressure or the same compression level. And this is what sucks it all together and gives it that sense of cohesion, that sense of connection with the audience. So underneath, when I have this, on top of that, I am articulating. Now, this is harder than people realize. And when you actually start just with a song like this and you get someone to sing it, a lot of the time when they articulate different vowels and consonants, the compression doesn't stay even. Even on something like this, which is not high, it's just talking range really, the compression's not even. But they don't know, they don't realize the compression's not even. So they will think they're doing the same thing, but it's not quite there. Now, when I say the same thing, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. What I mean is the sense of consistency in the sound and the compression underneath that articulation isn't quite there. And when that happens, it kind of feels disjointed. We kind of have something where it kind of sounds like, please remember me happily by the rose bush laughing with bruises. It doesn't have the same cohesion throughout. It doesn't feel like one thing. It immediately feels disjointed and separated. And so many singers do this. Like, I can't even begin. 99% of struggling singers do this. Even in low chest, they just can't bring it and suck it together. Because they haven't understood just that simple thing that I covered a moment ago. Is underneath the articulation is an even amount of closure all the time. And we have to learn that. Struggling singers have to learn this. They have to be able to go, na 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 na, please remember me. Na 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 na, please remember me. Na happily. Na na na, by the rose bush laughing. Na na, with bruises. Na na, on my chin. Na na, the time when. Na na na, we counted every black car passing your house. So that house is very difficult. Your house, your house. It wants to it wants to yell, or just it wants to lose some of the coordination. It wants to run away from me. So I have to actually concentrate a little bit on that. This type of detail and that type of example I've just given, whilst on the surface it seems so simple, anyone can do that, there's actually a lot of the time a hidden kind of complexity to low chest voice singing like this. And that little complexity that I've just covered is really the difference between what's going to make it, sound professional like this, and people are going to be drawn in and want to listen, and something that people are just like, meh, don't sound like nothing, sounds useless. Not that it sounds useless, more they just will not connect with it. They'll just be not bothered. And I promise you guys, just some simple pointers like this can transform something very average into something that sounds professional. And when we go back to this idea of just a simple plain approach, these small differences, and in some sense they're tiny differences, will really help to create a singer out of somebody. They'll really help to get somebody to communicate. They're kind of combining a nice basic simple approach with some consistent technical ideas, and allowing that to just drag them into art, drag them into a nice open communicative sound that people are going to get sucked into. We've got to have this balance though. We've got to have a balance between some of the technical aspects, some of the application, and then just letting the singer be emotionally open and vulnerable in that situation. If they can combine those three things, they've got a chance of sounding like a great singer. And if they can't, people are always going to be like, it's just not quite there, something's off. I'll leave you that, guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you in a bit. Take care. Bye.